Following the devastating loss at Maiwand, the shattered remnants of General Burrow's weary army began a grueling 45-mile retreat toward Kandahar. Harassed by armed local irregulars and crippled by exhaustion and thirst, the column's discipline quickly unraveled. Were it not for Captain Slade's determined rearguard action, far fewer would have reached the safety of the city. The remnants of the straggling column arrived in Kandahar on the 28th, increasing the garrison's strength to 4,360 men. The entire garrison withdrew within the fortified city walls and began organizing its defenses. These preparations included enhancing communication routes along the walls, repairing breaches, and constructing gun platforms. On the 8th of August, Ayub Khan, the victor of the Battle of Maiwand, began bombarding the citadel from Piquet Hill, located northwest of Kandahar. Despite the intense pressure, General Nott demonstrated strong and decisive leadership, in stark contrast to the failures experienced by British commanders in Kabul. The Afghan forces, lacking the heavy artillery and siege capabilities needed to breach the city's defenses directly, sought instead to exhaust the garrison through attrition and starvation. However, due to Nott's firm command and the superior preparation of Kandahar's fortifications, the British forces successfully withstood the siege for the moment. Brigadier General Brooke launched an operation to neutralize the Afghan troops near the village of De Koja. This mission would end in a costly failure for the Brits. During the withdrawal, both Brooke and Captain Cruikshank were killed, contributing to a total of more than 100 casualties. In an attempt to relieve the forces stuck at Kandahar, the British initiated a daring military maneuver. General Frederick Roberts, commanding the Kabul garrison, led a force of around 10,000 troops on a rapid and grueling 320-mile march from Kabul to Kandahar in just 3 weeks. Because of the unforgiving terrain of the Afghan country and the necessity of speed, all troops were ordered to travel light, with 6- and 9-pounder mountain guns being the only artillery. This extraordinary feat of logistics and endurance, known as the March to Kandahar, restored confidence in British leadership and set the stage for the decisive engagement. In the days leading up to the battle, Ayub Khan had established his position west of Kandahar in a crescent-shaped line stretching along a series of ridges and defensive villages. His camp was centered around Mazra, with artillery placements dug into high ground that overlooked likely British lines of approach. His force, estimated between 10,000 and 15,000 men, included regular Afghan soldiers, tribal levies, and several artillery pieces. Despite this, the Afghan force suffered from low morale, poor cohesion, and limited training. Roberts's army, by contrast, was a seasoned and highly disciplined expeditionary force. They had encamped in Kandahar for several days after his famous march from Kabul, giving his troops time to rest and scout enemy positions. At 3:30 a.m. on the 1st of September, Roberts's forces began their silent advance under cover of darkness. The first engagement occurred around dawn, when the British columns encountered Afghan outposts near Babawali Pass, a narrow defile leading to the main Afghan positions. Before Roberts could push his army forward through the pass, Afghan positions in the villages of Gundi Mulla Sahibdad on the British right and Gundigan on the British left had to be cleared. The British began with a bombardment of the villages. General Macpherson advanced his 92nd Highlanders and 2nd Gurkhas towards Gundi Mulla Sahibdad. The battle was hard fought. Both sides suffered casualties, but the Afghans came off far worse, possibly losing up to 200 men. Whilst General Macpherson advanced against Gundi Mulla Sahibdad, General Baker moved against Gundigan. The fighting was intense, but the British got the upper hand and began advancing past the village. As General Baker's brigade moved forward into the open, it came under artillery fire from the extremity of the Pir Paimal hill. Meanwhile, General Macpherson, who had advanced on Gundi Mulla Sahibdad, pressed on. Afghan resistance was determined in pockets, but quickly lost cohesion. By midday, Afghan forces on the left and center had broken under pressure, with many tribal levies retreating toward Herat. Only around Masra, where Ayub Khan's command tent was located, did resistance persist longer. Even there, the lines collapsed by early afternoon. Ayub Khan, seeing his army disintegrate, fled the battlefield with a small escort, abandoning his artillery, camp and supplies. The British cavalry pursued for several miles, capturing stragglers and looted equipment. The Battle of Kandahar brought a close to the Second Anglo-Afghan War. Ayub Khan had been decisively beaten. He had lost the whole of his artillery, his camp, enormous quantities of ammunition, and about 1,000 men killed. The British suffered 100 killed and 218 wounded. Ayub Khan became a fugitive along with the small remnants of his battered army. Roberts left Kandahar on the 9th of September 1880 and marched to Quetta with part of his division. On the 15th of October 1880 at Sibi, he resigned his command and sailed from Bombay on the 30th, taking sick leave in England. The British appointed Abdur Rahman as Emir of Afghanistan under a protected state which gave Britain control of Afghanistan's foreign policy.